My beloved child, pause for a breath and listen carefully, because this moment has been guarded for you. Archangel Michael is not whispering by accident right now. There is a reason these words have reached your eyes, and it is not coincidence, not chance, and not entertainment. You were not meant to scroll past this, and heaven knows how many times you have almost skipped messages like this before. Today is different. This is the window you prayed for without realizing you were praying. Archangel Michael stands as a protector of truth, and his presence carries urgency without fear. He says there are only moments left for this revelation to land gently on your heart. Not because God wants to pressure you, but because God wants to protect you. Every time you skip, it is not anger that God feels. It is grief. A quiet grief that says, "My child, I was trying to prepare you, and today, that preparation is about you and about what has been spoken behind your back." Hear this clearly. Someone close to your life, closer than you think, has already confessed something about you, not publicly, not openly, but in a place where truth slipped out because it could no longer be carried. Archangel Michael is revealing this now because if you learn it later without spiritual covering, it could shake you. Right now, heaven is softening the ground of your heart, so the truth does not wound you. It frees you. This is not about shame. This is not about punishment. This is about clarity. You have been sensing a strange shift lately, haven't you? Moments where energy felt off, conversations that felt incomplete, smiles that didn't reach the eyes. You thought you were overthinking. You told yourself to ignore it. But Archangel Michael says your spirit noticed before your mind accepted it. God was speaking, but you were busy surviving. Listen closely now, because this is where many people miss the blessing. The confession made about you was not fully negative, and it was not fully honest either. It was mixed with admiration, jealousy, truth, and fear. This person spoke about your strength but also revealed their insecurity. They admitted they never expected you to last this long. They never thought you would rise quietly the way you have, and that realization unsettled them. Archangel Michael wants you to understand something powerful. When people confess things about you, it is rarely about who you are. It is about who they become when they stand next to you. Your light has been making someone uncomfortable, not because you are loud, but because you are consistent. Not because you are perfect, but because you kept going even when you were tired. Heaven saw every silent tear. Every night you ask God, "Why does this feel harder for me?" Do not rush past this part, because what comes next explains why this message feels so intense. God is not upset with you, but He is asking for your attention. Skipping is not about missing a video. It is about missing alignment. Each time you scroll away from a divine interruption, you delay clarity. You delay peace. You delay protection. And Archangel Michael is stepping in now because delay is no longer safe for your spirit. This person's confession has already set things in motion. Words spoken cannot return empty. They have triggered decisions, thoughts, and subtle actions around you. Nothing dramatic yet, nothing obvious, but enough to affect your environment if you stay unaware. This is why heaven is alerting you now, not to scare you, but to strengthen you. Awareness is your shield. Feel the calm underneath the urgency. That calm is Archangel Michael's presence. He does not come with chaos, he comes with order. He is teaching you to observe without reacting, to listen without confronting, and to prepare without panic. God is repositioning you emotionally so that when the truth fully surfaces, you will not crumble. You will stand clearer than ever. You may be wondering why now? Why not earlier? Because earlier you would have taken this personally. Earlier you would have tried to fix things that were never yours to fix. Earlier you would have questioned your worth. Now you are ready to see, without absorbing the weight. Growth has quietly matured you. Take a moment and place your hand over your heart. Breathe. This message is not here to accuse you. It is here to awaken you. Archangel Michael says, pay attention to what changes after today. Notice who becomes distant. Notice who becomes overly curious. Notice who suddenly mirrors your words. These are not accidents. These are responses to what has already been said. And listen to this carefully. Beloved child, God is not losing patience with you. He is drawing nearer. He knows how often you felt tired of messages, tired of waiting, tired of hoping. But this one carries confirmation. You are not imagining things. You were never too sensitive. You are discerning. Stay with this message. Let it settle, because what you are about to understand next will change how you see that person forever and how you protect your heart going forward. Take another breath and allow Archangel Michael to continue guiding you. Beloved one, as this message unfolds, Archangel Michael draws your attention to something you may have overlooked for a long time. It is not the words that were confessed about you that matter most right now, but the timing of when they were spoken. Heaven is revealing this because the season has shifted. You are no longer standing where you once stood emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. God has quietly moved you forward even while you felt stuck. And when you move, the people around you are forced to respond to that movement. Archangel Michael says the conflict did not come from courage. It came from pressure. This person reached a point where carrying their thoughts about you became too heavy. They could not pretend anymore. They spoke because something in your life triggered them. Maybe it was your calm. Maybe it was your silence. Maybe it was the way you stopped explaining yourself. Whatever it was, it exposed a truth they were trying to hide even from themselves. You need to understand this clearly so you do not misinterpret what is coming. The confession was not meant to harm you, but it was not meant to honor you either. It was a release of mixed motives. They admitted that you intimidate them without trying. They admitted they misjudged you. They admitted they spoke about you based on assumptions, not facts. And once those words were released, the spiritual atmosphere shifted. Archangel Michael is reminding you that words create movement. When someone speaks about you in secrecy, it still travels. It still lands somewhere. And God, who hears everything, does not ignore it. Not because he wants revenge, but because he wants alignment. He cannot allow lies, half-truths, or hidden resentment to follow you into the next season. So, he exposes gently before it explodes publicly. This is why your spirit had been restless. You have felt moments of heaviness that didn't belong to you. You felt the urge to withdraw, to protect your energy, to stay quiet. That was not weakness. That was wisdom forming. Archangel Michael says you were being trained to listen more than you speak, to observe patterns instead of reacting to behavior. God was sharpening your discernment while you thought nothing was happening. Now hear this part solely because it carries freedom. You are not responsible for correcting what they said. You are not assigned to confront, explain, or defend yourself. Heaven has not asked you to fight this battle. In fact, Archangel Michael is stepping between you and the consequences of that confession. What was spoken will return to its ender as clarity, not chaos. God will deal with the heart behind it. You may notice subtle changes in how this person treats you going forward. They may act overly kind or strangely distant. They may test your reactions, watching to see if you know something. Stay grounded. Do not reveal what God has revealed to you. Silence in this season is your protection. Archangel Michael says restraint will speak louder than confrontation ever could. There is something else unfolding that you must not ignore. The confession has unlocked truth for you. Not about them, but about yourself. You are stronger than you realized. You no longer chase validation. You no longer need approval to feel secure. A growth is what unsettled them. And that growth is what qualifies you for what God is about to entrust to you. God is not asking you to harp in your heart. He is asking you to guard it wisely. Forgiveness does not mean access. Love does not mean tolerance. Archangel Michael is teaching you boundaries that do not require explanation. From this moment on, you will feel less guilty for choosing peace. That is not selfishness. That is spiritual maturity. Let this truth settle deep within you. Not everyone who claps for you celebrates you. Some clap to keep close. Some smile to stay informed. And some speak because they fear being left behind. This does not make you arrogant for noticing. It makes you aware. God never called you to be blind. He called you to be wise as you walk in love. Archangel Michael says, something has already shifted in your favor because you stayed present long enough to receive this message. Awareness has interrupted a plan that could have drained you emotionally later. Heaven always warns before it wounds. Always. And if you are hearing this now, it means protection has already been activated around your name. You may feel a strange mix of relief and sadness. Relief, because things finally make sense. Sadness, because you care deeply. Both emotions are valid. God is not disappointed in your heart. He is proud of your endurance. He saw you give the benefit of the doubt when it would have been easier to walk away. That kindness was never wasted, even if it was misunderstood. Say, attentive, beloved. What you are about to realize next will explain why this confession had to surface before the next door opens for you. Archangel Michael is not finished revealing the truth, and what comes next will bring even deeper clarity about your purpose, your protection, and your peace. My precious child, Archangel Michael now asks you to slow your spirit and lean in, because this is where understanding turns into transformation. What was confessed about you did not end with words, had created a spiritual echo, an echo that moved through intentions, thoughts, and quiet decisions. This is why God intervened before you discovered it naturally. If you had learned this through human conversation, it would have carried emotional weight, but learning it through divine revelation carries authority and peace. Archangel Michael reveals that the confession happened during a moment of vulnerability. This person did not plan it. Something pressed on their conscience. Something about you triggered a mirror inside them. They were asked a question or placed in a situation where honesty slipped out before fear could stop it. And in that moment, they admitted something they had been denying for a long time. You were never who they thought you were. You were stronger, wiser, and more discerning than the version of you they created in their mind. This is important, so listen carefully. People often build versions of you that fit their comfort. When you outgrow that version, They feel exposed. The confession was not just about you. It was about their realization that they could no longer control the narrative. You changed without asking permission. You healed without announcing it. And that quiet transformation unsettled them more than open success ever could. Archangel Michael says, "Heaven allowed this confession to surface now because you are about to step into visibility, not necessarily public fame, but spiritual visibility. Your decisions will begin to matter more. Your absence will be felt. Your presence will shift rooms, and God refuses to elevate you while hidden resentment still has access to your life. Exposure is protection, not punishment." You may be wondering why this feels emotional even though nothing has happened outwardly yet. It is because your soul is catching up with what your spirit already knows. There is grief in realizing that someone you trusted carried unspoken thoughts. There is release in knowing you were not wrong for sensing distance. And there is empowerment in realizing you no longer need to chase clarity. It has been given. Archangel Michael wants you to hear this without fear. This person is not your enemy, but they are not meant to walk as closely with you as before. Seasons change and maturity recognizes when alignment shifts. God is gently adjusting positions around you so your next season is not polluted by old misunderstandings. This adjustment is an act of mercy for both of you. Now pause for a moment and stay present because what comes next matters deeply. Many people will never hear this level of truth because they leave before revelation unfolds. But you stay, and because you stayed, you are being entrusted with wisdom that will protect you long term. Hold on, because what you are about to understand next will explain why silence is more powerful than confrontation right now. Archangel Michael says you are being trained in restraint because restraint preserves authority. If you confront too soon, you give away insight that was meant to guard you. If you speak emotionally, you dilute the clarity God just gave you. Instead, observe, pray, remain steady. Let actions reveal what words never could. Heaven is already working behind the scenes in ways you do not need to manage. As this truth settles, let your heart remain soft, but your boundaries firm. This balance is a sign of spiritual maturity. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming clear, and clarity is kindness to yourself. Before this message moves deeper, allow me to speak directly to you for a moment. If this revelation is resonating with your spirit, help this message reach others who may be unknowingly hurting themselves by skipping divine interruptions. Take a second to like this message so it can travel further. Share it with someone who needs spiritual clarity. Leave a comment declaring that you are choosing awareness over confusion. And if this space has been guiding you consistently, subscribe and stay connected so you do not miss moments like this. Your engagement is not just interaction. It is participation in a greater work. Now, Archangel Michael releases a blessing over you. Type, "I receive the truth with peace" in the comments if this message is aligning with your spirit. Blessing code 913 has just been released. And before the atmosphere shifts further, hear this invitation that flows directly from this moment. This message is not stopping with you. There are souls who are still confused, still hurt, still skipping the very words meant to protect them. I hear the Lord saying, "Who will help me reach them?" If this message has brought light to you, then sow into that light so it can travel farther. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link placed in the description, you are placing oil in the lamp that keeps this revelation burning. As Scripture lives and breathes, God says, "Those who water others will themselves be refreshed." This is not a donation, it is a prophetic response. I bless every seed you release now, and I declare that clarity, protection, and unexpected peace will multiply back to you. Act now. Be part of what God is unfolding. Stay centered, beloved child. What Archangel Michael reveals next will show you how this confession connects directly to the new door God is opening for you, and why walking forward unburdened is the key to everything that follows. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now shifts your focus from what was revealed to why it was revealed at this exact moment. Heaven never exposes without purpose. There is a divine order unfolding, and this confession was only the first layer being lifted. God is not merely correcting a misunderstanding. He is clearing a pathway. You are standing at the edge of a transition, and clarity had to come before movement. Archangel Michael says something important has been forming quietly in the spiritual realm around you. A responsibility, an assignment, a new level of trust. And with every elevation comes a requirement: emotional freedom. God will not allow unresolved emotional ties, hidden expectations, or unspoken tensions to travel with you into what is next. That would weigh you down. So before the door opens, He lightens your load. This is why the truth came gently instead of forcefully. If it had come through confrontation, gossip, or betrayal, it would have bruised your heart. Instead, God chose revelation. Revelation does not accuse. It equips. You were shown what you needed to know without being dragged into drama. Alone is a sign of favor. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that the next phase of your life will require discernment more than explanation. You will not always be able to tell your whole story. You will not always be understood, and you will not be called to correct every misconception. God is teaching you how to move with quiet authority. When you know the truth, you no longer need to prove it. Notice how your emotions are already changing. The urge to explain is fading. The need for validation is weakening. The desire to protect your peace is growing stronger. This is not detachment. This is alignment. Your soul is adjusting to a higher frequency where not everyone can follow. And that is okay. Archangel Michael says you are entering a season where your discernment will be tested. People will approach you differently. Some will sense your growth and draw closer with genuine hearts. Others will sense it and feel threatened. You are not responsible for how they respond. You are only responsible for remaining anchored in truth and love. Here is something you must remember as you move forward. Just because someone played a role in your past does not mean they are assigned to your future. Gratitude does not require proximity. Honor does not require access. God is teaching you to bless people from a distance, without reopening doors He Himself has closed. The confession you learned about was a key, not a widen, a key that unlocked understanding. You no longer need to question your intuition. You no longer need to doubt those moments when something felt off. That inner knowing was not fear. It was discernment developing, and now it is refined. Archangel Michael emphasizes that you are not being isolated. You are being refined. God often reduces noise before He increases clarity. If your circle feels smaller, it is because it is being purified. Quality over quantity is becoming your new normal. Conversations will become deeper. Connection will be gamo and edil. Superficial bonds will naturally fade. You may feel moments of loneliness during this shift. That does not mean you are doing something wrong. Loneliness is often the space God uses to introduce you to yourself at a deeper level. In that space, your identity stabilizes, your values solidify, your direction sharpens. Archangel Michael assures you that this is temporary and purposeful. Do not rush to replace what is being removed. Do not cling to what God is gently loosening. Trust the process even when it feels quiet. Especially when it feels quiet. Heaven does its most precise work in silence. There is also a warning wrapped in love that Archangel Michael wants you to receive. Be mindful of oversharing in this season. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Some people listen to respond, others listen to report, and some listen to compare. Choose carefully where you place your truth. Sacred things require safe spaces. As you walk forward, your peace will become your confirmation. When a decision brings clarity instead of confusion, it is aligned. When a relationship brings calm instead of anxiety, it is healthy. When silence feels safer than explanation, wisdom is at work. These are the signs you will begin to notice more clearly. Now, Archangel Michael says the confession with a final confirmation you needed to trust yourself again. Somewhere along the way, you learned to doubt your instincts because you wanted harmony. You chose peace at the expense of truth. But now God is restoring your confidence in your inner voice. That voice is not rebellion. It is guidance. You are not becoming distant from people. You are becoming closer to God. And as you do, everything else finds its proper place. Some will walk beside you. Some will fall behind, and some will bless you from afar. All of it is part of the divine design. Remain steady. Beloved one, do not rush ahead and do not look back with regret. What God is building in you right now is stability that cannot be shaken by opinions, confessions, or misunderstandings. You are learning to stand firm without becoming rigid, to love deeply without losing yourself. Archangel Michael remains near as you move into this next understanding. What is coming will require the strength you are developing now. And when the next truth is revealed, you will be ready to receive it without fear, without confusion, and without hesitation. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now invites you into a deeper layer of understanding, because what you are sensing is not just emotional maturity, it is spiritual positioning. God is not only adjusting relationships around you, He is recalibrating how you see yourself within His plan. The confession that surfaced was a marker, a line drawn between who you were and who you are becoming. There is a reason this truth arrived when it did. You have been standing at a crossroads without realizing it. One path would have led you to continue carrying emotional weight that was never meant to be yours. The other path leads to freedom, clarity, and purpose. Revelation was the signpost that redirected your steps. Archangel Michael says, "You have underestimated how much you have grown. You survived seasons that could have hardened you, yet your heart remained tender. You endured misunderstandings without becoming bitter. You learned patience without losing discernment. This balance is rare, and it is why heaven is paying close attention to you. Now, understand this clearly. The confession did not reduce your value. It confirmed it. When someone speaks about you in private, it reveals the impact you have made in their life. Whether they admit it fully or not, you mattered enough to be discussed. You influenced enough to be questioned. And that realization is part of your awakening. You are stepping into a season where God is asking you to trust Him more than your emotions. Feelings will rise, memories will surface, and questions may linger. But Archangel Michael reminds you that emotions are messengers, not masters. They inform you, but they do not lead you. Truth leads you now. This is why you may feel less reactive lately. Situations that once triggered you no longer hold the same power. Words that once cut deep now pass through without lodging in your heart. This is not numbness. This is healing. Healing does not erase memory. It removes the sting. Archangel Michael says, "You are learning the art of emotional stewardship. You are choosing what deserves your energy and what does not. You are recognizing that not every misunderstanding requires resolution, and not every silence needs to be filled. Wisdom has taught you when to engage and when to release. There is also a subtle shift happening in how you pray. Your prayers are becoming more focused, more intentional. You are no longer asking God to change others as much as you are asking Him to guide you. That is maturity. That is alignment. And heaven responds quickly to prayers rooted in surrender. You may notice that doors you once tried to force open no longer interest you. Opportunities that once seemed urgent now feel optional. This is because your priorities are changing. You are no longer driven by fear of missing out, but by peace of mind. And peace is a powerful compass. Archangel Michael wants you to know that this season will require patience, not passive waiting, but active trust. You will be tempted to rush clarity, to seek closure through conversation or confrontation. But God is asking you to wait, because what He is revealing gradually will protect you completely. Remember this. Not all closure comes through dialogue. Some closure comes through understanding. You do not need an apology to move forward. You do not need an explanation to find peace. Sometimes knowing the truth is enough. As you continue walking this path, you will find yourself less interested in being right and more committed to being free. You will choose peace over proving a point. You will choose wisdom over winning an argument. These choices will shape your future more than you realize. Archangel Michael emphasizes that you are not alone in this transition. Even when it feels quiet, heaven is actively supporting you. Angels are assigned to guard your heart, to guide your decisions, and to protect your peace. You may not see them, but you will feel their influence through calm, assurance, and timely discernment. You are also being prepared to support others who will walk a similar path. Your experience, though personal, will become purposeful. God often turns private pain into public wisdom. What you learn now will one day help someone else navigate their own awakening. Be gentle with yourself as you integrate these changes. Growth is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is subtle, like choosing silence instead of reaction, or rest instead of resistance. These small decisions are building a foundation of strength within you. Archangel Michael says you are learning to walk with God, not ahead of Him and not behind Him, in step with Him. That rhythm brings stability. It brings confidence. It brings peace that does not depend on circumstances. As this part of the message comes to rest, allow yourself to feel gratitude, not for the confusion of the past, but for the clarity of the present. You are no longer guessing. You are no longer doubting. You are becoming rooted in truth. What comes next will challenge you to apply what you have learned. Not in theory, but in real life, moments where discernment meets decision. And when that moment arrives, Archangel Michael assures you that you will recognize it, not with fear, but with calm certainty. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now turns your attention from inner understanding to outer movement, because wisdom that is not applied eventually fades. God has been preparing your heart quietly, but soon you will notice subtle moments where you must choose how to respond differently than before. These moments will seem ordinary on the surface, yet they will carry deep significance for your future. The truth you received about the confession was not meant to sit dormant inside you. It was meant to sharpen your awareness. Archangel Michael says, "The next phase of your growth will not be announced with signs or loud confirmations. It will be revealed through choices. Small decisions, everyday reactions, the way you speak, the way you pause, the way you walk away instead of staying to explain. You are being asked to practice emotional discipline, not suppression, but direction. Where you once poured energy into fixing misunderstandings, you will now redirect that energy into building peace. Where you once replayed conversations, you will now release them. This redirection is how healing becomes visible. There will be moments when the person connected to that confession reappears in your awareness, perhaps through a message, a memory, or a subtle attempt to reconnect. Archangel Michael advises you to respond from clarity, not curiosity. You do not need to revisit what God already resolved. Sometimes distance is the answer prayer gave you without words. This season will test whether you truly believe that silence can be anointed. You have learned much through patience, but now patience must become your habit. Do not rush to fill gaps with explanations. Do not feel obligated to maintain access simply because history exists. God honors boundaries that protect your peace. Archangel Michael also wants you to understand that not everyone who senses your growth will resist it. Some will be inspired. Some will seek guidance. Some will quietly adjust their behavior around you. This is how light works. It reveals without accusing. It influences without force. You may notice that people listen differently when you speak. Now your words carry more weight, not because you talk more, but because you speak with intention. This is the authority that comes from alignment. When your inner world is settled, your outer voice becomes steady. There is also a new responsibility being placed on you. As you grow clearer, others will look to you for emotional cues. How you respond will teach them what is acceptable. How you remain calm will show them another way to live. You are leading without a title, guiding without instruction. Archangel Michael says this is why it was so important that the confession was revealed before this stage. Unresolved emotional ties would have blurred your leadership. But now you are free to move without hidden weight. You are lighter, and that lightness will attract opportunities that match your peace. Do not be surprised if your interests begin to shift. What once excited you may no longer hold your attention. What once felt necessary may now feel optional. This is not loss. This is refinement. God is narrowing your focus so your energy is not scattered. At times you may feel tempted to revisit the past just to confirm your growth. Resist that urge. Growth does not need proof. It produces fruit naturally. Trust what God has already done within you. Before the message continues deeper, take a moment to anchor yourself here. If this message have been guiding you, grounding you, and helping you understand your journey, engage with it intentionally. Like this message so it can reach others who are still confused. Share it with someone who needs clarity but has no words for what they feel. Leave a comment declaring that you are choosing peace and discernment, and if you have not yet, Subscribe so you remain connected to messages that arrive right on time. Your participation helps keep this space active and aligned. Archangel Michael now offers a gentle reminder. Consistency is what will sustain you. One moment of clarity is powerful, but daily alignment is transformative. Continue listening. Continue praying. Continue choosing wisdom even when it feels uncomfortable. There will be moments ahead when old patterns try to resurface. Not because you are failing, but because growth is being tested. When that happens, pause, breathe. Remember what you know now. You are no longer who you were when those patterns formed. God is pleased with your progress. Even when you do not acknowledge it yourself, heaven celebrates quiet obedience more than dramatic displays. Every time you choose peace over reaction, alignment over approval, you are advancing spiritually. Archangel Michael assures you that you are being watched over closely in this season. Not watched with judgment, but with care. Every step you take is being guided, even when it feels like you are walking alone. As this part settles into your heart, prepare yourself for what comes next. The next revelation will not be about others. It will be about you, your calling, your boundaries, and the strength you are stepping into. And when it arrives, you will recognize it not as pressure, but as confirmation. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now brings your awareness inward because the greatest shift in this season is not happening around you, but within you. What God has been doing quietly is strengthening your inner foundation so that external changes no longer shake you. You are becoming anchored, and that anchoring is intentional. Heaven is preparing you to stand firm in moments where others would feel unstable. You may have noticed that your reactions are slower now, not because you are unsure, but because you are discerning. You are learning that not every emotion deserves immediate expression. This restraint is not weakness, it is mastery. Archangel Michael says this is the mark of someone who is no longer ruled by impulse but guided by wisdom. There is a deep internal realignment happening. Your values are settling into place. What matters to you is becoming clearer. What drains you is becoming obvious. And what feeds your spirit is no longer negotiable. This clarity is the result of everything you have endured, reflected on, and released. God is also restoring your trust in yourself. Somewhere along the way, you learned to second-guess your instincts because you wanted peace with others. You ignored inner nudges to avoid conflict. But now those nudges are returning stronger, calmer and clearer. Archangel Michael says, your intuition is being refined, not replaced. It is learning to speak without fear. You may find yourself becoming more selective with your words. Conversations feel different now. Small talk no longer satisfies you. You crave depth, sincerity, and truth. This does not make you difficult to connect with. It makes you authentic, and authenticity naturally filters connections. There is also a strengthening of your spiritual boundaries. You are becoming more aware of what you allow into your mind, your heart, and your environment. Certain content, conversations, or environments may suddenly feel heavy or distracting. This is your spirit protecting itself. Honor that awareness. It is guidance. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that growth often feels like isolation before it feels like expansion. As old patterns fall away, there is a temporary quiet. But that quiet is not emptiness. It is space being created. Space for new understanding. Space for aligned connections. Space for purpose to breathe. You may be tempted to fill that space quickly. Resist that urge. Let God fill it. When He does, what enters will not compete with your peace. It will complement it. There is a new level of confidence forming in you, but it is not loud. It will not seek attention. It does not need approval. It is the quiet confidence of someone who knows who they are and whose they are. This confidence will guide your decisions without force. Archangel Michael says, "You are learning to walk without constantly looking back for validation. You no longer need reassurance at every step. You trust the direction even when the destination is not fully visible. This trust is faith in action. As this inner strength grows, you may notice others responding differently to you. Some will respect you more. Some will feel unsure around you, and some will naturally drift away. You not interpret this as loss. It is alignment adjusting itself around your growth. God is also teaching you how to rest without guilt. Rest is no longer avoidance. It is renewal. You are learning that productivity does not define your worth. Stillness is becoming a place of connection rather than discomfort. This is healing at a deep level. Archangel Michael reminds you that your journey has never been about proving anything. It has been about becoming whole. Every lesson, every delay, every revelation has been guiding you toward integration. Mind, heart, and spirit aligning as one. You may feel moments of deep gratitude rising unexpectedly. Gratitude, not tied to circumstance, but to understanding. You see now why certain things did not work out, why certain people could not stay, why certain doors end to close. This understanding brings peace that cannot be argued away. As you continue forward, you will begin to notice that challenges no longer intimidate you the way they once did. You approach them with calm curiosity instead of fear. This shift is evidence of inner stability. You trust yourself to navigate whatever comes. Archangel Michael assures you that this inner work is not invisible. Heaven sees it. God honors it. And in time, it will reflect outwardly in ways that feel natural, not forced. Opportunities will arise that match your maturity. Connections will form that respect your boundaries. Do not rush this process. There is no finish line you are late to. Growth unfolds at the pace of readiness, not urgency. You are exactly where you need to be. As this part settles, remain open and attentive. What comes next will connect this inner transformation to an external shift that is already approaching, and when it arrives, you will recognize it not as disruption, but as confirmation that everything you have been learning is now ready to be lived. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now brings you to a threshold moment, because everything you have been sensing internally is about to reflect externally. This is the phase where understanding turns into alignment, and alignment begins to attract what matches it. God has not been preparing you in silence for nothing. There is movement forming around you, subtle but intentional. You may start noticing small confirmations appearing in your daily life. Conversations that answer prayers you never spoke out loud. Opportunities that arrive without force. Delays that suddenly make sense. These are not coincidences. They are signals. Heaven is responding to the inner shift you have allowed to take place. Archangel Michael says, the confession you learned about earlier, with the final emotional tie that needed clarity before this stage could unfold. Once truth is revealed, power shifts. You are no longer reacting from confusion. You are responding from awareness, and awareness changes outcomes. There is something important you must understand now. God is not just removing what no longer aligns. He is also restoring what belongs to you. Confidence that was chipped away. Peace that was interrupted. Trust in your own discernment. These are returning not gradually but steadily. You are reclaiming ground that was never meant to be lost. You may feel a renewed sense of courage rising within you. Not boldness that seeks confrontation, but courage that allows you to choose differently, to say no without guilt, to pause without explanation, to move forward without needing everyone to understand. This courage is quiet, but it is powerful. Archangel Michael emphasizes that you are now operating from spiritual authority rather than emotional reaction. Authority does not announce itself. It simply stands firm, and when you stand firm, the environment around you adjusts naturally. Be attentive in this season. Pay attention to how situations resolve themselves without your interference. Watch how clarity replaces confusion without effort. Notice how peace begins to guard your thoughts. These are signs that you are walking in alignment. There may still be moments where old thoughts try to resurface. Memories may attempt to pull you backward. When that happens, do not fight them. Acknowledge them, then release them. They no longer have permission to shape your decisions. They are reminders of how far you have come, not directions of where to go. Archangel Michael also brings a gentle instruction. Do not underestimate the influence of your presence, even in silence. You are impacting others. Your calm, steadiness is teaching without words. Your boundaries are setting examples. Your peace is speaking louder than explanations ever could. This is also a season of increased responsibility. As you grow clearer, you are entrusted with more insight, more influence, more opportunity to choose wisely. Responsibility is not pressure, it is trust. And God only entrusts those who have learned to steward their hearts. You may notice that some people respond to you with newfound respect. Others may seem uncertain how to approach you. This is normal. Growth changes dynamics. Let it. You are not meant to remain accessible to everything and everyone forever. Archangel Michael reassures you that you are not losing connections. You are refining them. What remains will be genuine. What leaves was never meant to follow you further. 'Cause this sorting process, it is guided, and this message reaches deeper. Allow yourself to receive what is being released now. Type "I step into divine alignment" in the comments. If your spirit agrees with this message, blessing code 2468 is now activated over your life. And as this blessing settles here, this word that flows naturally from it, this message did not reach you by accident, and it is not meant to stop with you. There are many who are still stuck in confusion, still hurting God unknowingly by skipping the very warnings meant to protect them. I hear the Lord saying, "Those who help me carry my word will never lack light." If this message has brought clarity to your spirit, then release that clarity into others. When you give through Super Thanks membership with a PayPal link placed in the description, you are sowing into a living stream that carries truth to those who are lost, tired, and unaware. As the word declares, when seed is sown in faith, the harvest responds in season. I speak blessing over every giver. Now may your obedience open doors, guard your heart, and multiply peace in your life. Do it now. Be part of this divine assignment. Remain steady, beloved, What unfolds next will connect everything you have learned to a decisive moment ahead. And when that moment arrives, you will not hesitate, because clarity has already gone before you. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now draws your attention to a moment that is quietly approaching, a moment that will ask you to act from everything you have learned rather than everything you once felt. This is not a dramatic turning point that arrives with noise. It is subtle, is calm, and that is why it will test your growth. God is preparing you to recognize alignment without fireworks. You have been trained in discernment through experience, not theory. What you endured taught you how to read between words, how to sense shifts in energy, and how to trust what settles in your spirit. Now, those lessons will be required. A decision will present itself soon. It may appear small, even ordinary, but it will carry weight. The way you respond will confirm how deeply this transformation has taken root. Archangel Michael says, this decision will involve boundaries, not aggressive ones, but quiet ones. You will be invited indirectly or directly to step back into an old dynamic. It may come wrapped in familiarity, nostalgia, or emotional appeal. Nothing harmful on the surface, nothing obviously wrong. But your spirit will notice a difference. Where you once felt pulled, you will now feel paused. This pause is important. It is not hesitation. It is wisdom creating space. God is teaching you that you no longer need to rush into responses just because something is familiar. Familiarity does not equal alignment. Comfort does not equal calling. And history does not equal permission. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that choosing differently does not mean rejecting people. It means honoring the version of you that God has refined. If you step back into old patterns, you dilute what was built through patience and prayer. This is why heaven is alerting you now. You may feel compassion rising in your heart during this moment. That compassion is real and good. But compassion does not require sacrifice of self. Love does not demand that you abandon discernment. God never asks you to betray your peace, to prove your kindness. This is where many people struggle. They confuse growth with pride. But Archangel Michael says, choosing peace is not pride. It is obedience. You are not elevating yourself above others. You are aligning yourself with truth. And truth creates separation naturally, without hostility. Notice how different this feels compared to the past. There is no inner chaos, no spiraling thoughts, no urgency to explain. There is a calm knowing, a steady sense of direction. This calm is confirmation. God often speaks through peace when we are ready to listen. As you move through this moment, you will realize something profound. You are no longer afraid of disappointing others if it means staying true to yourself. This shift did not happen overnight. It was built through every time you chose silence over reaction, wisdom over impulse, patience over pressure. Archangel Michael says, heaven is pleased with this growth because it protects what God has planned next. The next season of your life will require emotional stability. It will require clarity. It will require the ability to say no without guilt and yes without fear. What you are practicing now is preparation. Do not be surprised if after you choose differently, there is a brief moment of emotional release, a sigh, a tear, a sense of closure. It is your soul letting go of an old version of you. Grieve it gently. Then bless it and move forward. You are not losing yourself. You are becoming more fully who you were always meant to be. Archangel Michael also wants you to remember that growth is not always celebrated by everyone. Some will misunderstand your boundaries. Some will interpret your silence as distance. Let them. You are not responsible for managing perceptions. You are responsible for stewarding your heart. There is also a reward connected to this moment, not necessarily immediate, but certain. When you choose alignment over attachment, God responds with favor. Favor does not always look like abundance at first. Sometimes it looks like relief, like clarity, like waking up without heaviness. These are gifts many overlook. As you continue forward, you will begin to notice that your life feels less complicated. Problems resolve quicker. Decisions feel lighter. This is the fruit of alignment. Life does not become perfect, but it becomes clearer, and clarity brings peace. Archangel Michael encourages you to stay present as this unfolds. Do not rush ahead in your thoughts. Do not replay the past in your mind. Stay anchored in what is happening now. This is where God is moving. And before this message goes further, pause with me for a moment. You have stayed this far because something within you recognizes the weight of what is being shared. Hold on, because the next revelation will connect this choice you are about to make with a breakthrough you did not see coming. What follows will make everything click in a way that feels both surprising and deeply familiar. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now brings your awareness to the outward ripple effect of the inner choices you are beginning to make. What you decide in quiet moments does not stay quiet. It shapes your environment. It shifts your future. God has been watching how you handle discernment when no one is applauding, because that is where true obedience is revealed. The decision you are stepping into will not create noise, but it will create movement. Once you choose alignment over familiarity, life begins to reorganize itself around that choice. Situations that once lingered will resolve. Confusion that once followed you will lift. Not because circumstances suddenly change, but because you are no longer feeding what drained you. Archangel Michael says, this is the season where your authority becomes visible through consistency. You are no longer swayed by mood or pressure. You are led by clarity, and clarity is powerful. When you move from clarity, even small actions carry weight. Even silence speaks. You may begin to notice that people treat you differently. Now, conversations may be shorter but more respectful. Requests may become fewer but more intentional. This is not loss. This is adjustment. Others are responding to the boundaries you now hold without announcing them. Energy recognizes energy. God is also teaching you that you do not need to justify your growth. Growth speaks for itself. When you stop over-explaining, you allow others to adjust on their own. Some will rise to meet you. Some will quietly fall away. Both outcomes serve your purpose. Archangel Michael wants you to recognize how far you have come emotionally. Situations that once would have kept you awake at night now pass through your thoughts without anchoring themselves. You reflect, but you do not spiral. You care, but you do not collapse. This balance is a sign of healing taking root. There is also a renewed sense of direction forming within you. Goals feel clearer. Desires feel more aligned. You are no longer chasing what looks good. You are choosing what feels right. This discernment will protect you from distractions disguised as opportunities. Do not underestimate the power of choosing peace repeatedly. Peace compounds. Each peaceful decision builds upon the last, creating a life that feels lighter, steadier, and more intentional. Archangel Michael says, this is how God rebuilds trust within you, by showing you that you can handle clarity without fear. You may still encounter moments of temptation to revert to old habits, especially when emotions rise unexpectedly. When that happens, pause, breathe. Remember what you know now. You are not required to respond the way you once did. You have options. And choosing differently is not betrayal. It is growth. God is also increasing your sensitivity to timing. You are learning when to speak and when to wait, when to act and when to observe. This timing is not accidental. It is the result of learning to listen more closely to God than to external noise. Archangel Michael emphasizes that you are not late. You have not missed anything meant for you. Everything that belongs to you will meet you at the right time, not the rush time. Trust this pacing. It is protecting you from unnecessary detours. If this message continues, take a moment to anchor yourself in this space. If this message had been speaking to your spirit, let it move beyond listening into action. Like this message, so it can reach others who are still navigating confusion. Share it with someone who needs reassurance but has no words for what they feel. Leave a comment declaring that you are choosing alignment over attachment. And if this space had been helping you grow, subscribe and stay connected so you do not miss what is released next. Your engagement helps keep this flow of clarity active. Archangel Michael now reassures you that what comes next will require the steadiness you are building now. A new opportunity, conversation or invitation will soon appear. It will look harmless, even appealing, but your discernment will recognize whether it aligns with who you are now or who you used to be. Trust that recognition. You are no longer operating from survival mode. You are operating from wisdom. Survival reacts. Wisdom chooses. And every time you choose from wisdom, you strengthen the foundation God is building beneath you. There is also a quiet joy beginning to surface within you. Excitement tied to outcomes, but contentment rooted in self-trust. This joy does not depend on others' behavior. It flows from knowing you are walking in truth. Archangel Michael says, heaven is pleased with this stage of your journey because it reflects maturity. You are not asking God to remove every challenge. You are allowing Him to refine your responses. This is the kind of growth that lasts. Stay present as this unfolds. What is coming next will bring a clear confirmation that your choices have not gone unnoticed. God is about to respond in a way that will feel both affirming and timely, reminding you that alignment always invites reward. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks with a tone of assurance, because you are approaching a point of confirmation that will settle many unanswered questions within you. This is not a sudden miracle or a dramatic interruption. It is something steadier, deeper, and far more lasting. God is about to show you that the quiet choices you made were seen, honored, and recorded. You may already sense it. A subtle shift in how you wake up, a calm in your chest where anxiety once lived, a feeling that you no longer need to brace yourself for impact. This is not coincidence. This is evidence. Evidence that alignment has begun to produce fruit. Archangel Michael says there is a form of peace that only comes after obedience. It does not arrive when everything is perfect. It arrives when your spirit knows it did the right thing, even when it was uncomfortable. That is the peace now settling into you. Soon, something will validate your discernment. It may be a conversation you overhear, a truth that surfaces without your involvement, a situation that resolves itself in a way you could not have orchestrated. When this happens, you will realize how protected you were by not acting impulsively. You will see clearly why God asked you to remain silent, patient, and grounded. This validation will not inflate your ego. It will humble you, because you will recognize that what saved you was not cleverness, but obedience. Not strategy, but surrender. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this is how God builds trust with his children, by showing them that listening works. There is also a deeper emotional release coming. Not loud and not dramatic, but real. A letting go of the need to replay the past. A softening toward yourself for what you did not know back then. Compassion will replace self-criticism. You will forgive yourself for staying too long, for doubting yourself, for hoping longer than you should have. This self-forgiveness is a sacred step forward. Archangel Michael says, many people carry guilt for not leaving earlier, not speaking sooner, not choosing differently. But God does not measure growth by speed. He measures it by readiness. You moved when you were ready. And that is enough. There is no condemnation in heaven for learning at your own pace. As this settles, you will begin to notice a new level of emotional independence. You are no longer tied to how others behave. Their moods do not dictate yours. Their silence does not unsettle you. Their opinions do not define you. This independence is not, detachment is stability. God is also restoring joy in simple things, moments of laughter without guilt, rest without explanation, pleasure without overthinking. These are signs that your nervous system is healing, that your soul feels safe again. Archangel Michael says safety is essential for growth. God does not rush healing. He nurtures it. You may also notice an increase in clarity around your future. Not every detail, but enough direction to move forward with confidence. Ideas that once felt foggy begin to sharpen. Desires align with values. Your path feels less crowded, more intentional. This is not because options disappeared, but because distractions lost their appeal. Archangel Michael emphasizes that you are not being pushed into something new. You are being invited. Invited to live with intention. Invited to choose relationships that feel mutual. Invited to build a life that reflects who you have become, not who you were trying to be. There will still be moments of reflection. Dealing does not erase memory, but memory no longer controls you. It informs you, it reminds you, it strengthens your discernment, and that is its proper place. As you walk forward, you will realize that what once felt like loss was actually space being made. Space for clarity, space for peace, space for what is truly aligned. Archangel Michael assures you that nothing essential was taken from you. Everything essential is being preserved. You are nearing the completion of this cycle. Not an ending marked by grief, but a closing mark by understanding. The chapter is finishing quietly, respectfully, without chaos. This is a gift. Then he never received this kind of closure. Remain open in the days ahead. God is still speaking, still guiding, still confirming. And what comes next will not require you to strain or strive. It will feel natural, familiar in a good way, like coming home to yourself. Archangel Michael stands with you as you take these final steps forward. What awaits you is not uncertainty, but integration. Everything you learned is about to come together, and when it does, you will realize that you are no longer seeking peace. You are walking in it. My beloved child. Archangel Michael now speaks with finality and gentleness, because this message has reached the moment of sealing. What began as a warning has become a confirmation. What started as urgency has turned into peace. You are not the same person who first received these words, and heaven knew that would happen. This was never about information. It was about transformation. You have walked through layers of understanding, released emotional weight, and accepted clarity without resistance. That alone tells heaven something powerful about you. You are teachable. You are willing. You are ready. God does not reveal this deeply to those who are not prepared to carry it responsibly. Archangel Michael says, "The greatest change in you is not visible yet, but it is irreversible. You no longer abandon yourself to keep peace with others. You no longer silence your discernment to avoid discomfort. You no longer confuse patience with tolerance. These shifts mark the end of an old cycle and the beginning of a new authority. There will come a day very soon when you look back and realize how protected you were in this season. You will see how certain outcomes never happened because you paused, how certain wounds never formed because you listened, how certain doors never reopened because you trusted God more than familiarity. That realization will not bring regret. It will bring gratitude. Archangel Michael wants you to know that heaven has adjusted around you. Angels have been reassigned. Paths have been redirected. Conversations you never heard were interrupted on your behalf. This is what happens when someone chooses alignment over impulse. God moves things you never see. From this point forward, you will feel a stronger sense of inner permission. Permission to rest. Permission to say no. Permission to move forward without explaining your healing to anyone. You are no longer waiting for approval. You are walking in confirmation. This is also the season where your discernment becomes protection, not just for you, but for others connected to you. Your calm will steady people. Your clarity will guide them. Your boundaries will teach them what healthy looks like. You will lead without trying, simply by being aligned. Archangel Michael says, "Do not fear what you are leaving behind. Nothing behind you holds your future. What is ahead will meet you gently, not forcefully. God is not rushing you. He is walking with you. You may still feel moments of emotion because healing does not erase humanity. But those emotions will pass through you instead of trapping you. You have learned how to let feelings move without letting them rule. That is mastery. Now hear this clearly, because this is the sealing truth. You were never wrong for sensing something was off. You were never weak for caring deeply. You were never foolish for hoping. Those traits did not need to be removed. They needed to be guided. And now they are. Archangel Michael stands as witness that this cycle is complete. The warning has done its work. The revelation has landed. The protection has activated, and you are stepping forward lighter than you have been in a long time. Before this message fully closes, receive this final blessing. Type "I am sealed in truth" in the comments. If you receive this word, blessing code 881 is now released over your life. And as this blessing settles, hear this final call that flows directly from what you have just experienced. This message changed you because you stayed. But there are many who are still skipping, still distracted, still unknowingly hurting God by ignoring the very warnings meant to save them. I hear the Lord saying, "Those who help carry my voice will never walk without provision." If this message guarded your heart, then help it guard others. When you activate Super Thanks, step into membership, or give through the PayPal link in the description. You are sowing into a living altar, where truth is released daily. The word declares that seed placed in obedience never returns empty. I bless every giver now. May your obedience speak in heaven. May your provision increase on earth, and may peace guard your home. Do it now. Respond as an act of faith, not convenience. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now steps back, not because the work is unfinished, but because it is complete. Walk forward with clarity. Walk forward with peace. Walk forward knowing you were warned, protected, and transformed. This message was not a joke, and you will never be the same.